Hello. I hope you like this part one, because we're breaking patterns. Data collection would expect me to say part two. Now I've given the game away. I hope you like my little radio that I've set up here. It's a booklet that sort of came into my possession. The New International Version, the Gospel of John, but nice little reminder. You might want to say that to yourself. Just repeat those words. You also notice you've got a tower and you've got antennas, feathers, ether, FIFA. It's all by design. Everything is by design. You know, you can look into the future, one possible future, like science fiction, to see the past, as much as you can go in the past to predict the future when it is so predictable. Because it lacks imagination, and that's how we change it. But let's give you... It's one that Jason on Archaics has mentioned about the Pacific Islands and this thing called a cargo cult. Well, let's look at this the other way. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Mad Max 2. Now, did I say Mad Max 2, or was I saying Mad Max as well? You decide. But we'll go to the post-apocalyptic world. Let's think about that orphan plane. Remember, we're dealing with spirit, so you're not given an orphan train, you're given an orphan plane, because it's analogy to something that has come out the air and ended up solid and fixed on Earth. Those of you that have that knowing, that inner feeling that you know who you are, will probably also by now realize that as above, so below. You have wandering stars, like Hollywood stars, and you have fixed stars. As some of you have found out when you've tried to move and go against the divine plan, if you want to call it that, or the algorithm or whatever. But you'll find that you are well and truly fixed, and you may have a broken leg to fix you there. But you want to see it from the negative material perspective, then you're going to see a negative perspective. But flip that round, change the polarity, and see it from the other side, and you'll see it's very different. So Mad Max 2. So along comes Max, and he looks like this graven image of this Captain Walker. So all the children say to him, "Fly, Captain Walker, fly." And then they recite the story that they remember. I mean, they're children. They have remembered the story remarkably well. But they have no knowledge of the technology. They have no concept that that plane cannot take off. There is no runway. It has no wheels. It is grounded. But they think this Captain Walker is a god. And he's come back. Think about that. And they say to Captain Walker, as they think he is, they say, "Fly, Captain Walker, fly like the wind." But he can't. Because Captain Walker is not a god. Captain Walker is from a pre-apocalyptic era that rescued those children for whatever reason. But that plane has run out of fuel or whatever, and he's done the best landing he could, and they fell to Earth. Does this story sound somewhat familiar, perhaps? The world is a stage after all. The Hollywood is what a wizard's wand is made from. Now, the word wizard, you interpret that how you want to see what a wizard is and what a wizard can do and what it can show. But after that, of course, when we get to Mad Max 3, welcome to the Thunderdome. You have a Master Blaster who turns off a pipeline. Embargo on, who runs Bartertown? And the character played by Tina Turner, who are up above ground, they're like the gods and the goddess, who have control over this realm. They're not happy with this underworld embargo and pulling the strings from down below. So along comes Max, and he's talked into going into that Thunderdome. Now, they've separated the master from the blaster, the brain and the body. Now, 2 men enter, but 1 man leave. That's what they all chant. Why do you think they chant that? It is referring, well, it's a dome, it's referring to the cerebrum, to the 2 hemispheres of the mind. I feel also I should touch on that thing about the compass, and you can see it as a crucifix as well, because whatever you believe becomes your crucifix, because just like the shape of that symbol, if we take the top of it as being the north and the south being at the bottom, it's a much longer line, vertical line going south from that intersection with the horizontal line, the east and west axis, because that is your journey. You've come a long way already, but you don't really want to end up getting crucified. That is the crux. The crux is it is an eye fiction. When you fix your eye on that and just believe and blind faith, no experience. Well, in that case, I believe I can fly a 747, and I probably wouldn't do much better than Captain Walker if I could even get it that far. It's an amazing story, and it just shows, it echoes that whole thing of the cargo cult. You've got people that are cut off from the outside world, basically living on a survival subsistence way of life, gone very tribal. And there's remnants of technology from a lost world, and of course they have no understanding, and they think Captain Walker is a god and is going to magically get this plane to lift off and take these children to probably a promised land, which is probably where they were told they were heading for, but of course they crashed in that apocalyptic world. You see it being rolled out only today on the news. It's talking about an extreme sort of fascist right-wing political party is doing the best in the opinion polls, and it's upsetting the EU, but it's just has been shown how in the predictions with Archaic's channel, and things Ken Wheeler has sort of alluded to as well, and you're seeing this pendulum swing to the extreme right, and these predictions stand by the outcome of what happens, and you see if they've come true or not. Of course, some of them don't always play out. Some of the things are played out like you're nearly on the point of war, but it never happens. But the intention is sort of implied that that's the direction it's going to head, but then it can do a U-turn. Just like the pendulum, it goes so far and then it swings the other way. It is just mimicking the breath of life. You breathe in and you reach a limit, and then you have to breathe out, and then you reach a limit with that, and then you breathe in again. It's a balance, and the same with, look at the tides. It goes out, it comes in, same pattern, same blueprint, you could say. as with everything in this realm. So it's fun to be here, and I'm number 4, and I am everything that goes and associated with number 4. And I don't think I haven't already done it before, because I have, and I'll do it again, and I'll keep doing it because it's fun. You'll know what I'm talking about. You just know it because you'll feel it. Because when you know, it's because you've become known. You've been picked. You're the fertile soil for a seed, and from that does mighty oaks grow, from that acorn seed, as it were. But it's funny how this reality is also back to front and mirrored, because, as I've said before, the greatest compliment is to lose subscribers. Of course, the lower I ego wants to increase subscribers, but to lose subscribers is the greatest compliment, because that means you've moved on, you've taken your next step on your journey, that whatever I say doesn't actually matter, because you've moved beyond that, because I don't know what the limitations of anything I say are. It's a Bruckner symphony, really. You think you've got to the climax of the movement, and it's a false climax, and it's just a ledge, and there's a cloud, and there's another bit to climb, but it's a fantastic journey. But when you're on that journey, you can always look back and admire the view of how far you've already come. And of course, you can look both sides as well. It's a moral compass. It's an internal compass. You want to know where you are. Well, you are the centre of everything. You are a centre of a universe. I mean, think about the word universe. Does that conjure up pictures of space and stars and things? Because if so, then the system programming has done a very good job to get you to see externally. I'm talking about the universe inside you. I'm talking about, think of it like the bath, and you've got the bubbles on the surface, because you want to be able to walk on water. Now, each one of those bubbles is finite. It's not going to be there forever, but think of them as every bubble is a cell in your avatar, and inside that there is a kernel, a very tiny bit. It's like the sort of description of the atom, the tiny little solid bit right in the middle, the little speck. That's the only solid bit, and that's the kernel. That's the from everything comes nothing, and of course it returns to nothing as well. But hey, do we really want to get to the end, or do we just want to enjoy the moment and enjoy the experience? Because it is fantastic, really. It's I wouldn't trade places with the World Trade Center. It's a fantastic voyage, and just as shown on Now, one of these TV channels, fire will reign, the House of the Dragon. And I'm sure some of you will be triggered, oh, dragons, serpents, evil, and all this shit. But they're just expressions, they're just labels that are applied to things. But if you want to wrap something around the label and just feel from the label, well, nothing I can do about that. You have to adjust your internal frequencies, and that comes about by creating new neural pathways, by reinventing yourself, by creating a new world order within one. Because there is only one, and everything else is a reflection of one. But it is everything and nothing, and in the same way, one is in many forms, but one can only take one form in one place, one time. But it doesn't mean there isn't one at the same time around in similar places. It's the same as the stars. There's not just one star, is there? There are many stars. They're all there. Whatever they are and wherever they are, it's irrelevant. What is beyond that? Well, there's things where words just don't cut it. They reach their limitation. But I would say if you want to find the way, well, use one of your other internal elements within your side yourself. You have your own Libra, your own library, your own living library, your own Libra. You have your own scales of just is. You weigh things up. That is the way. It's quite simple, really, but always looks complex, doesn't it? But yeah, just maybe it's a language lesson of the heart, and it's just like, just say this in various emotions. Say it in an angry way, I am the light of this world. Say it in a sarcastic way, I am the light of this world. Say it in a very egoic way, I am the light of this world. Or say it in a benevolent and happy way. But what you're doing, you're reprogramming yourself. I am the light of this world. And I feel it because I know who I am. And that's all it takes. I mean, it's John. I know people could possibly nitpick, but John, like John the Baptist, you cut the head off, you sort of circumcise yourself. Don't try that physically. I'm talking metaphorically. It is peeling off the layers. It's the opposite of what this material realm does. Think of the Great Pyramid of Giza with those outer casing stones that are now missing. But of course, we're in a realm of Maya. So what if you internalize that? That is where you do need to release and remove the casing stones. That's the calcified pineal gland. It becomes a black rock rather than a lighthouse of the heart, effectively. It's a throne room. It is a light into this world. It is a projection into this world. It takes many forms. But yeah, I don't care if you believe me or not. If you don't believe this is a radio, but I can assure you this is a radio, and it is a radio because I put the intention and feeling that those feathers are picking up a natural Wi-Fi, not an artificial one. So they probably do help. And I've built my own tower. Thank you, system, for supplying it, because I've put it to a new use, rather than discard it like it's nothing. It started as a tree, and it gave up its life. So I feel it's reciprocal that in some ways I honour that tree, as it were, and give it a new life and a new purpose. It's just perspectives after all, depending on what you see, how you see things, what you choose to see. You put your own blinkers on or you remove them, that's entirely up to you. You put a virtual headset on or not, no one's forcing you to. It's entirely up to you, but I hope that, I sincerely hope from the core of the heart that you can find the I am within you, because this is the thing. You want to know who you are, where you are, and everything else. The answer to everything is I am, always. But we're in Maya, so you need to decide where your aim is, and then from the aim, an aimee, and then you put it into action. It's an amigo, it's a friend, it's a joining of two into one, like was shown again with the World Trade Center. Trading something, redeeming it, exchanging it, reciprocal, giving and receiving, like breathing, basically. I think you get the picture now anyway. Well, I hope so, and I hope that you do find, and not just as a concept, but that you really feel and know exactly who you are, which will then also help you understand and understand your purpose for being and what this experience is really all about. So love to you all, and ta-ta for now.